The Fat Freak Deuce has finally arrived, and I think there's a lot more to this IEM than what meets the naked eye. Let's get right into it. Hey everybody, I'm Matthew from Bloom Audio, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Fat Freak Deuce, the highly anticipated collab IEM from Fat Frequency and Bad Guy Good Audio Reviews, or Hawaii Bad Boy. Coming in at $239 for the 3.5mm version and $259 for the 4.4mm version. This is the lowest price of admission we've seen from Fat Freak, so I think there's a lot of eyes on this IEM currently. We've got a lot of good stuff here to talk about with Fat Freak Deuce, so we're not going to waste any time. We're of course going to talk about its sound, its interesting influence and comparisons, and of course how it looks, because I think Fat Freak knocked it out of the park here in the aesthetics department. Starting off with the shell, of course we have HBB's logo and Fat Freak's logo on the faceplate, but if you take a little bit of a deeper look, you see the black and gray, kind of almost graphite looking shell here. I think it just really looks great, and of course with the complementing red colorway, everything just really ties in well here together and just creates a very compelling look to Fat Freak Deuce. I think Fat Freak's always done a good job with ergonomics. Scarlett Mini, Grand Maestro, Maestro Mini has always gotten a good seal with me, but Deuce kind of takes things to the next level here. The shell is just a little bit longer than Maestro and Scarlett Mini and really just fits my ears incredibly well, and I also changed it up here in the ear tips I chose. Where I would usually go with my Omnis, I actually decided with the Elitech Brogues here, and I think it made a world of a difference in just creating that long-lasting and comfortable seal. As for the cable, we have the Silver Blood pre-order cable here, and it is just simply a great looking cable. There was a small period of break-in that I had to undergo for it to kind of just stop kinking and wrapping up on me, but for the most part I absolutely love how this cable looks and complements the faceplate of Deuce. Finishing up here with the impedance adapter that also has the Silver Blood cable of course on it. That is also included in the pre-order version of Deuce, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in the subjective sound. We also get a Fat Freak case here, some ear tips, a cleaning tool. That basically just wraps up the Deuce unboxing experience. Nothing too special here, but I think the cable and faceplate are just simply excellent, and they really do a great job of propelling the unboxing experience as you get a really fleshed out aesthetic here in Fat Freak Deuce. Getting into objective sound, we have a few graphs to look at here. Of course, Deuce with and without its impedance adapter, and also some graphs from the inspiration that Fat Freak and HBB took to tune Deuce. Already taking a look at the graph, as always, you got it on your screen, I have it on my phone. So of course, starting off with the bass, if you know anything about Fat Freak, they like their low end. HBB wanted to put a large emphasis on the rhythm section of music with percussion and 4 and 5 string bass guitars. He did a phenomenal job. Obviously, we're going to expand on that in subjective sound, but this bass response is really what you think it is. It's bold, it's monstrous, it's there with and without the adapter. It's a lot of fun, but that's not all that Deuce has to offer. Going into the mids, another large point of emphasis for Deuce and HBB's side of the tuning was vocals, and HBB did a really great job here with the vocals. You see that little bump there in the upper mids around 3 and 4K. Just a really great job here at capturing vocals to their fullest potential. We'll expand again on that a little bit more, and I think without this, the vocals could get a little bit lost in the sauce, especially with the bass response, but Fat Freak's always done a really great job at just creating this level of separation between all the bodies of music with that monstrous bass response. Deuce, again, no exception here. They did a really great job with this. Now, as for the treble, this is what I find so interesting, and we're going to get a little bit more into this in the next graph that we have. But the treble is probably one of my favorite aspects of Deuce, which is very interesting when you look at this and you just see that monstrous bass, you see the really nice and present mids. The treble here I just think is exceptional. HBB had a IEM in mind that he wanted to tune closely to, and I think they did a great job at really drawing inspiration from this IEM and implementing it here in Deuce. So what IEM am I referencing here with the treble? That would be none other than the Moondrop Variations. HBB wanted to create something that's harder hitting than the Variations, And I think if that was the main goal behind Deuce, he did a great job here, because that treble response and upper mids and vocal emphasis from the variations carried over very well to the Deuce. Obviously, they did their own thing here with Deuce. It's not a one-of-one copy, but you can start to see the inspiration, especially when looking at the graphs. So when looking at this graph, yeah, you can see the upper mids and treble really resemble each other closely, and this is a very good thing. Obviously, the Moondrop Variations is a very beloved IEM within the space, and that's large in part due to its upper mids and treble. Combined with the overall low end and lower mids of Deuce, you really just get something here that's very digestible, it's very smooth, it has great sonic information presented. There's really nothing missing here, and that's where we're going to transition to subjective sound and how it paired with my library. So HBB obviously has a huge rap and hip hop library, so bass was going to be a main focus, and even with his rock and roll, you know, you got Led Zeppelin, you got all these guys in his library that had to have good bass response, had to have good kick drum elements to it. Deuce definitely captures all of that very well. 50 Cent, Ice Cube, all those guys just sound simply fantastic with Deuce, all the contrasting elements of their production with their 808s and all that good jazz just absolutely comes together with Deuce. I could probably spend around 10 minutes just talking about how many albums I revisited from those guys through and through just in my listening sessions, going top to bottom with their albums. Get Rich or Die Trying was probably my #1 played album here. With that era of rap, everything really came together. That monstrous low end is just simply addictive with or without the adapter. Sports and their track Panama was one that I just absolutely loved. Again, that impedance adapter is a little bit of my guilty pleasure here. I threw that one on and I listened to this track over and over again. I just thought the bass tones just really resonated almost like deep in my soul and just sounded simply fantastic. I think Deuce does a remarkable job at presenting those bass tones. So moving into the mids and those upper mids as a whole, HBB and Fat Freak obviously really had to come together to make sure that vocals didn't get lost in the sauce of that bass response, and I think they just did a fantastic job at presenting vocals exactly where they need to be within the mix. When listening to Crumb's newest album, Amama, I think Lila has really well captured vocals through and through on this album, but the title song, Amama, on this album is really where I think Deuce just absolutely knocked it out of the park with her vocals. This is a song that really needs those vocals front and center in the mix, or else it can get lost in those contrasting elements of the production. I thought Deuce did a really great job at capturing them here, separating them from the other bodies of music and really just putting the spotlight on them to really shine through. Not only did female vocals sound great with Deuce, but also male vocals as well. Hozier's Wildflower and Barley is a testament to this statement. Hozier is one of my favorites in male vocals in music currently, so it's not hard for me to enjoy his vocals and think they just sounded great, but Deuce just add a little bit extra magic to it, really made them come alive, and I think this song in particular just really just sounded fantastic with Deuce and was definitely a mainstay for me and one I revisited a lot. Now moving into the treble, what I found interesting was HBB didn't want the impedance adapter included in the package, or it wasn't really his idea. He says with the impedance adapter, you basically get a Scarlett Mini, and that is actually where I disagree with his take, because the treble is the biggest contrasting element between Deuce and Scarlett Mini. To my ears, Scarlett Mini's treble actually has some oddities and overall peaks to it that I don't think makes it unlistenable or I can't enjoy my time with Scarlett Mini. I do like that IEM, but I think Deuce is almost a more refined version here in the treble, and what contrasts those two so well. Deuce's treble is smooth, it's digestible, it's very detailed and decisive without giving you all these peaks or oddities. It just stays consistent throughout the entire mix, and I really came to enjoy Deuce's treble a lot more than I thought I would. I really want to harp on the treble and just how good it is, because I think it would have been easy for Fat Freak to take two highly successful IEMs already in their lineup, like Maestro Mini and Scarlett Mini, simply add a similar tuning to Deuce and really just call it a day. It didn't seem like that's what HBB wanted, and I really respect his decision in kind of differing here from Fat Freak's usual treble response and implementing something here that I think just really brings Deuce all together, adds a very smooth and digestible response to it that plays well with a multitude of different genres and really separates it from what I think could be described as a one-trick pony. If you look at Deuce's bass response and just simply wrote it off as that, you'd really be doing a disservice to the mids and treble here, because I think HBB and Fat Freak did an excellent job at tuning these, particularly in the treble response. And now finishing up with soundstage and imaging, I actually think this is where Deuce probably surprised me the most. This is actually the first IEM I wanted to game with, and obviously that was large in part to the ergonomics and fit of Deuce, but also because of the soundstage and imaging. It was actually a lot wider and more detailed than I thought, and I wasn't surprised when I heard HBB in his video mention that this was another point of emphasis for them. I think they did a really great job. It doesn't sound artificial or too stretched out, just very natural and well spaced out. I just gotta say, my competitive gaming days are over, so if you're looking for an in-depth analysis at how Deuce fares in a competitive landscape, you're gonna have to wait for more reviews to come out, because I am not your guy to go deep into that. I'm pretty much washed at this point, so yeah. However, I do play a good amount of single-player games, most notably Game of the Year, Black Myth Wukong. Yes, I don't hesitate on that. It's a phenomenal game. If you haven't played it, go buy it right now and run it up. I think Deuce added a very immersive element to my single player gaming sessions. I just thought it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of hit behind every single strike in combat. Footsteps were very bold and loud, and everything just really tied together well with Fat Freak Deuce. So what's the final verdict on Fat Freak Deuce? What's the bottom line? Fat Freak Deuce just kind of seamlessly fit into my collection and became something I really couldn't get out of my ears. Without even knowing I was going to be doing this review, I took it home on a whim for the weekend, gamed with it, listened to music with it, worked with it, and just simply fell in love with its sound signature. There is an incredible sense of value here with Deuce that I think could mostly be written off because some people just look at it maybe as a one trick or just another collab IEM in a very saturated market. I think Fat Freak Deuce stands out amongst the crowd with the value it presents and offers the best point of entry to listen to Fat Freak's house sound. Thanks for watching. You can check out Fat Freak Deuce and a lot of other great products at bloomaudio.com. If you're still on the fence about Fat Freak Deuce, I highly encourage you to shoot us an email at hello@bloomaudio.com, drop into a live chat, or just drop a comment down below. Again, I really try to get back to each and every comment left on my videos, so fire away. If you want to try and compare Deuce up against some other IEMs I've heard, again, you can leave that in the comment section below. I can't promise I've listened to the IEMs you want to compare it against, but I will do my best to leave impressions on IEMs I have heard. Be sure to like and subscribe, as we'll be back soon with more high-fidelity audio content.